Black suggests a number of synonyms for humbug, including the following: balderdash, claptrap, hokum, drivel, buncombe, imposture, and quackery. This list of quaint equivalents is not very helpful, but Black also confronts the problem of establishing the nature of humbug more directly, and he offers the following formal definition: humbug, deceptive misrepresentation, short of lying, especially by pretentious word or deed, of somebody's own thoughts, feelings, or attitudes. A very similar formation might be plausibly be offered as enunciating the essential characteristics of bullshit. As a preliminary to developing an independent account of those characteristics, I will comment on the various elements of Black's definition. Deceptive misrepresentation. This may sound pleonastic. No doubt what Black has in mind is that humbug is necessarily designed or intended to deceive, that its misrepresentation is not merely inadvertent. In other words, it is deliberate misrepresentation. Now, if as a matter of conceptual necessity, an intention to deceive is an invariable feature of humbug, then the property of being humbug depends at least in part upon the perpetrator's state of mind. It cannot be identical, accordingly, with any properties, either inherent or relational, belonging just to the utterance by which the humbug is perpetrated. In this respect, the property of being humbug is similar to that of being a lie, which is identical neither with the falsity nor with any of the other properties of the statement of the liar makes, but which requires that the liar makes his statement in a certain state of mind, namely, with an intention to deceive. Oh, hello. I didn't see you guys there. Welcome to Bitcoin Talk Show. Hey, Dan, how's it going? He's muted, but he says hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing good. Just thought we'd start a little Bitcoin talk show. I was just reading a little bit more of On Bullshit by Harry G. Frankfurt. This is the world's first and only academic tome about the topic of bullshit. So, of course, you can use the language if you're discussing the thing, especially the thing as a term of art, which is presented so well in this book. Here, particularly, he was talking about the difference between humbug and bullshit. And if you're humbugging someone, you're intending to deceive. Whereas bullshit, you could just be chilling out and having some bullshit. It doesn't have that deception in there. So he's really trying to understand this complex American word, bullshit.
Nice, sounds interesting. How far are you through?
Oh, I've read it. It's short, but I like flipping through for the quotes because it has a good sound to it, because it's both academic and at the same time, every 20 words or so, he's like, bullshit. So has a great quality to it. But let's get started here on Bitcoin Talk Show. Let's see what's going on today in the world of Bitcoin. Today is Wednesday, December 12th, 2018. The year is almost over. I'm Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was up 2.77% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 3,535, a high of 3,571, and a low of 3,408. That's $1 for 28,744 Satoshis. Checking out the top stories in Bitcoin. Why Bitcoiners are using memes to cope with a crash. Bitcoin's price has plummeted, but the memes keep coming. What's behind this community's obsession? And as you can see here, they've got a great Gandalf meme at the top here. It says, with a sad face, he says, "I lost everything." But then he has a happy face, like, yay! So that's worth checking out. We've got some other memes. They show SpongeBob as a coach. When your stocks are down 3%, and he's like screaming at them and he's yelling, and he wants his snail, it looks like a snail race. He wants it to do better. And then it says, when your cryptos are down 85%, and it's Patrick, and he's just petting the snail, and he says, "It's okay, Rocky. You'll go when you feel like it." So they're saying part of it is gallows humors, part of it is people just trying to survive. Things are so bleak. It's a really interesting article because it has interviews with three of the mods of our Bitcoin, Thamos, Frankenmint, and Bashco. So it's great to see them get some recognition. And also, they're great people to consult on the memes because they're right there on the ground floor at our Bitcoin. They've got a Thanos graphic. It shows $20 in savings, $500 in Bitcoin. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. And that's good. But I think the Thanos meme would be more of, we're going to wipe out 50% of your profits. 50% of your profits will be wiped out, or maybe even 50% of your life savings if you didn't have any profits. But also, we've got some more memes. I went and gathered up just some from Twitter. I didn't go that deep into Reddit. I'm sure there are more memes, but here are just a few memes. Ethereum, IOTA, EOS, and looks like James Franco are all being hung on maybe a pirate ship, and they're all grimacing and worried. And James Franco, representing Bitcoin, says, "First time?" And they look at him with a ridiculous look on their face. They can't believe this, but of course, this has happened to Bitcoin before. Summit Kapoor has a great little cartoon. It says, "Who wants to have Bitcoin?" Everyone raises their hand. "Who wants to buy Bitcoin?" No one raises their hand. "Who wants to use Bitcoin?" The room empties out. So that's a good one. We've got the old Terminator memes coming back with the kid from T2. He says, "Did you come back to save the human race from machines?" And Arnold says, "No, I'm here to buy Bitcoin on the cheap." That could have been any time in Bitcoin. Be original. Fork, Bitcoin, fork, fork, fork. And the forks are all copying off of Bitcoin's homework. And we've got a Bitcoin man in a full body cast. The guy in the chat says, "Why is the price still dropping?" It's because you haven't sold it all yet. As soon as you've sold it all, the price will stop dropping. I know from personal experience, whenever I sell even the smallest amount of Bitcoin, there's a little recovery the next day. So just get to selling, it'll go that way. If you get to buying, it'll actually go down. So whatever you do, don't do that. But yes, it does seem to do the opposite of what we want it to do. We're keeping an eye on the price, but we don't know what's going to happen next. Looks like it tried to break 3,500 and didn't. So not good. They were saying if we could get to the 3,600s today, there could be a chance of a reversal. Obviously, the option are also true because they say if we don't get to the 3,600s today, that there won't be a reversal. So once again, it's raining and it's also not raining. Dan, what do you think about the price and the memes? Let's get you in here.
Well, I think you definitely see a bit more action on Twitter when it comes to memes, and I think the reason is because people don't want to check Blockfolio. They're kind of, they know that any news that's coming out isn't really going to do much to the markets unless it's bad news in a bit of a bear on. So the best thing you can do is make memes and make people laugh, and it's the best way of kind of coping. I think laughter is the best way of coping with something.
And if the price really does recover, like the followers of the log chart say, it won't matter in the end. This will have been another downturn that was distressing, was punishing, but at the same time, if it does roll back up and go even higher, what does it matter? We may as well laugh and enjoy the day. As Mike Novogratz says, revolutions don't happen overnight. He's not giving up on Bitcoin, and neither should you. He says Bitcoin is digital gold that will survive and thrive over the long haul. Even Novogratz admitted that he lost money during the 2018 slump due to bad market calls, but that doesn't dampen his long-term outlook that crypto is a revolution whose time has come. "I do believe Bitcoin is going to be digital gold," Novogratz told Bloomberg. "That means it's the only one of the coins out there that gets to be a legal pyramid scheme, just like gold is." Novogratz said Bitcoin and gold are similar because of their finite supplies. "All the gold ever mined in the history of the world fits in an Olympic-sized swimming pool," he said. "You're out of your mind to think that pool's worth $8 trillion. but it is because we say it is. Novogratz said naysayers who are basking in Schadenfreude will, over the current market downturn, should realize that the mass adoption of a new currency takes time, and early setbacks don't necessarily spell doom. Revolutions don't happen overnight.
Well, I mean, gold's finite at the moment, but and I know it's pie in the sky. But what happens when they do start like mining asteroids and stuff? That would make things interesting. But that's not going to happen for a long, long while.
Oh, don't tell Elon Musk that. Elon Musk dreams that he will mine an asteroid full of gold before his life runs out. Nah, actually, he wants to die on Mars, which is a good goal, I guess. Well, you got to die somewhere. Why not Mars? Speaking of Mars, Denmark targets 2,700 Bitcoin traders for tax payments after tip off from Finland. I love this headline. Everything's right there. I love this tip off from Finland. Tell me more. According to, we're not even going to try it, the Danish citizens bought and sold Bitcoin via an unnamed Finnish cryptocurrency exchange between 2015 and 2017, but did not declare any profits or losses on tax documents. Now, the agency will go after each individual with an eye to determining their payment obligations. Right
So,
now, go ahead, Dan.
so does that mean that they've given them the data then, by the sounds of it?
It sounds like it. The Finnish exchange has been taken over by perhaps the Finnish government, and the data was given, it seems, to the Netherlands. It looks like the information, did not say which exchange was involved, but the information had come via a tip-off from Finnish tax authorities. Finland is well known to be the home of international P2P Bitcoin trading platform Local Bitcoins, which this year implemented limited AML, anti-money laundering, and know your customer processes for quote-unquote high-volume account holders. The 2,700 traders purchased Bitcoin worth around $8 million and sold Bitcoin worth around 7.55, and they sold it worth 8.58 million. But that's probably just the tip of the iceberg, which is good because Denmark is cold. So that works. What do you think, Dan? Trouble for Denmark? Trouble for Finland?
I think in general it sets a bit of a precedence, doesn't it? If the exchanges are giving their data out for other countries to chase after the potential tax, I can imagine that happening everywhere. I mean, it didn't happen a while back in the US that Coinbase handed over details.
I think they definitely would if there was an investigation. They usually do, especially Coinbase, people like them. But it does show just how Bitcoin's being used around the world and how governments are uniting to stop it and to check it. Everyone that thought they were going to get away without paying taxes is going to have to pay them. I always suggest that everyone do pay taxes. It's very difficult to find out what the right amount of tax to pay is, though. So you do the best you can and do the best you can. So, not official tax advice. Do not take to bank. Bitcoin price charts indicate glimmer of hope for corrective rally. Here it is, the magical word saying that Bitcoin could have a notable bounce if prices beat key resistance above 3,600. We're checking out the charts. Let's go straight to the view from CoinDesk's Omkar Godbowl. Omkar says, a convincing move above $3,633 would validate the inverted hammer candle seen in the 3-day chart and open the doors for a stronger corrective rally to $4,000. A break above 3,633 would also confirm a bullish divergence of the 14-day RSI and open up upside on the daily chart towards $4,400. A break below the recent low of $3,210 would reinforce the overall bearish view, although oversold conditions on the 14-week RSI could limit the downside around $3,000. So they're saying in the chat, we're seeing a confidence vote in Brexit. We're also seeing a confidence vote in Bitcoin as we find out whether Bitcoin will break above 3,600 or retreat below $3,200. As usual, they've predicted both sides of the equation to make it easy for you to make your decision. What do you think, Dan? Up or down?
Well, I mean, we've had a bit of an update, and that's despite a few random stories and FUD that I've seen today. Like, I think it's the CEO of Allianz or something like that, the insurance company, that said Bitcoin should be basically banned by the regulators. But instead of going down, Bitcoin sort of moved the opposite direction. So maybe he hasn't got as much clout as, say, Jamie Dimon, but it's definitely interesting to see that the Bitcoin price is resisting FUD like that now.
We'll have to see how it goes. I know in the larger markets, I think the Dow had recovered, but then it went back down, but then it recovered, but then it went back down. There's a lot of chaos going on in the news lately, a lot of things happening on the presidential level that people are keeping their eye on. Did you know you can listen to the World Crypto Network as a podcast? That's right. Check it out on iTunes today, the World Crypto Network podcast. Be sure to subscribe and give us a rating and a review. We've got 55 customer ratings. All right. I think last time I checked, we had like 10 or 15. But you can see all of the World Crypto Network shows are right here. You can listen to them in audio, on your phone, in your car, on the go. Check out the World Crypto Network podcast. Subscribe today. What do you think, Dan? Should they subscribe to the podcast?
Definitely subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe if you're not already on YouTube, and obviously on Twitter as well. And then you can keep updated when all the latest shows are happening. And podcasts.
And podcasts. How fast? Very fast. Usually within the first couple days, the episodes are updated. We'd like to have it a 24-hour turnaround if we can, but there is still some parts of it that are not automatic. But you can see right here, today is December 12th. We've already got yesterday's show from December 11th is right there. So you can check it out for free on iTunes, World Crypto Network podcast. You could also subscribe to the Mad Bitcoins Patreon account at patreon.com/madbitcoins, where 57 patrons are donating $368 a month to keep this show going. You can also donate on Tallycoin. Looks like we might have gotten a new donation. Let's check that out. We're up to 25 donors on Tallycoin. Thanks so much to our most recent donors who donated yesterday. Donor 0.001828 and 0.0029845. Thanks so much for your support. As always, you can donate right here, the QR code on your screen if I stop moving it on Tallycoin. And you can start your own Tallycoin fundraiser at tallyco.in. Good stuff. But this is Bitcoin Talk Show, and that means you can call us now. Operators are standing by. You can call us now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. Call us now. Tell us what you think of the price. What's your favorite Bitcoin meme? Do you have a good one when it's down, a good one when it's up? I like that roller coaster guy. He seems to work for anything. He goes up, he goes down. I think he might be out of copyright or something. People keep creating new versions of him, but I don't know. What do you got, Dan? Cryptocurrency roller coaster guy? Somebody else?
Oh, what the beam where it goes like up and it goes down? That one?
Yeah, well, the guy that's on a roller coaster and he's just happy when it's going up and then happy when it's going down. He's just like, oh, all the time.
Oh, that's I think that's like, is that Mr. Bean, like where he's on, like he's going around loops and stuff and he's just really straight faced, or is that the one?
No, it's just the cartoon guy. It's just the cartoon.
There's quite a cool one with Mr. Bean just riding a roller coaster, and it's like it's the attitude that OGs need to have, which is it's going to go up, it's going to go up fast, it's going to go down fast, but you just got to kind of keep level.
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Yay! And then, of course, they also have the SpongeBob one here. This is good. SpongeBob's happy, Patrick's not happy. And then the great thing about the Bitcoin guy is he goes up and he also goes down. So you just invert the same image. Oh, there we go. Did you see that? It's a roller coaster tycoon shot. So he goes up, he goes down, and he crashes through a line of people.
Savage.
Good meme. Oh, look, we got some random coin. Oh, this is IOTA. I didn't even recognize the logo, but they're trying to steal the Bitcoin guy. Here's some N coin trying to steal the
Neo,
Bitcoin guy.
Neo.
I don't know. It seems like it was a stable coin. Pepe Cash has its own Pepe roller coaster. Check that out. That's funny. Look, here's a Ripple guy. Wow. That's the great thing about Bitcoin is everyone just copies everything you do. Maybe that's not the great thing about Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think the thing is with memes though, you're using someone else's content, but if you're kind of really personalizing it that much, you know, as long as you credit them, I think it's all good. As a meme maker, I've got to say that.
Well, it's just different versions of things. It's just different versions of things. But I think it's better to be on the original version of things than the copy version of things.
So someone's saying what the phone number is. Do you want to post that in again?
Yeah. Here we go. Get that going. But yeah, we're just checking
Get
out some
involved.
Bitcoin memes, seeing what's going on. Bitcoin, bad coin. Fight.
Can you show them my Lemmings one from today?
Sure.
I was really proud of that. I'm starting to learn Adobe After Effects. I met Jim BTC in New York at Consensus, and he taught me a few things or two. So I got back, started practicing.
Well, there you go. There's the Japanese game show. So we got banged in the area, and then here goes the Lemmings one.
This is your paid group leader, folks, with a parasol, while the other poor lemmings don't have one. There it is. It's small, but I'm proud. Now, there's been some great memes going around. I think the one I saw recently was Saving Private Ryan. You know, it's got everyone kind of on the battlefield being blown up at all sorts. Oh, I don't know if it was Jim BTC who did that one. He did the original one.
He did
awesome.
The original. Yeah, I guess maybe not the newer one. There's one right there. Oh, dancing guy. 4,000. Yeah. All right. We'll take that for now. Oh, here we go. This looks like this is the original Jim BTC. This is from years ago. Crypto trader, noob. And it's a Saving Private Ryan, the D-Day scene, describing for the podcast people. But yeah, people with an ICO bag and it explodes everywhere. Ethereum shrapnel. All the losses, people looking for their arm.
All going back.
Margin traders and the boats on fire. Yeah, good stuff. Jim BTC.
Definitely feels like that.
You can definitely follow Jim BTC on Twitter at Jim BTC. He does a lot of meme graphic things here. Like Dan's getting into, I guess. Let's see. Bullish on Bitcoin. The bear runs away. Okay. Stay safe. Oh. Getting slapped by the market there.
So there's a question there on the EU ban on memes. Now, from what I've gathered, they did the vote, and either it progresses or it happens in January 2019. I haven't really researched it, but one thing someone mentioned was that it's so what's the word? Like strict that
draconian.
Yeah, it's so strict and draconian that even for copyrighted things like buildings, for example. So if you're in, I don't know, Rome and you took a picture and there's a building that's got some sort of copyright on it, you would be asked to take your picture down from the public, basically. So if you share a picture and it's got one of these buildings in and they, you know, the owner somehow sees it, then they can ask you to remove the photo. I don't know if that's true, but it sounds pretty hardcore.
Well, that is what they want. They want to bring the old ideas of copyright into the internet. And even though these old ideas don't fit, they're going to make them fit. They're going to jam that square peg in the round hole, and they're going to take care of it. So we have to get ready for that crazy EU law. Like you guys are saying, they're going to ban memes. Everyone's going to use VPNs and stuff when they're in Europe. But it's like they already did with this crazy cookie law. Everywhere you go on the internet throughout Europe, they keep warning you that they're using cookies and then giving you nothing you can do with it. How about like, we're tracking you with these creepy cookies? Do you want us to stop? Yes or no? That would have been a better law than this. Like, I agree to be tracked by creepy cookies. But if you click 3 or 4 more times at a per website basis, you could get it to turn off. How about like a universal flag? No, I don't want to be tracked. And then never bring up that pop up window, because the alternative of this pop up window is just awful. So I can see a little bit of what people are saying with the whole bureaucracy of the EU, and you don't want the memes to be a part of that, and you don't want England to be a part of that. But what do you think, Dan? The big issue of the day, Brexit. Is May done? Does she survive the vote of confidence? We're going political now.
Well, it's a big one, isn't it? I mean, I think I voted Remain, and I must admit I was a bit disappointed and shocked really when the vote came in. I was actually in Glastonbury Festival, and so I was a bit drunk, and I was there with my girlfriend, and she voted Remain as well. My parents voted Leave, so they were over the moon. But yeah, we definitely drunk ourselves out of the bad mood that day. But in terms of the impact, it just kind of seems that people are saying that they don't want a second referendum, because it kind of laughs in the face of democracy. But the way I kind of see it, we didn't really have all the facts and it wasn't kind of laid out as a business case. Whenever you make a decision in business, you need a business case, and all the facts contradicted each other. There's the trading standards and advertising standards agency, and neither of those cover politics. They don't cover what politicians say and what they do, and promises they make and figures, etc. So all of these kind of figures were floating around. Everyone was very confused. There was a lot of misinformation at the time, and I think now that if we did a second referendum, the reason would be because it's the equivalent of like voting to go and walk over a hill, because you've seen this kind of steep thing and you walk all the way up it, and then as you get to kind of closer to the end of the top of the hill, you realize that there's a cliff on the other side, and you're like, yo, I know we voted to walk over, but there's a cliff there, and is that going to be a good option, walking off the edge of the cliff? Can we have a second vote to change it? And I think that's where people have issue that it's a second vote and people had already voted, but all the information flying around was just I don't know. I think
I don't
it
know.
kind of muddied the water.
I think you're in a real tight spot. Even if May loses this election, it would be the Conservative Party, right, that would work with the other groups to form a government. And they want a more harsh Brexit. They're looking for a hard Brexit where everything is just cut off like a scissors, just madness. Whereas everyone else was like, what about Gibraltar? What about the border with Northern Ireland? What about our people that are there? There are people that are here. There's a lot of issues with untangling these countries if you're actually going to untangle these countries. But no, I think, let's see, I think May will lose the vote, but the Conservatives won't do anything better. They won't call for a new vote, and there'll be a hard Brexit in March. What do you think, Dan? Is that going to be it, or what is your prediction?
Well, it seems like it's the world's kind of against May at the moment, and yeah, she hasn't handled things particularly well. But if she gets ousted now, it's going to delay things for one. I think it's just maybe it's good that it prepares more time for negotiations, so we can exit without as many issues and without rushing it, even though it's been a while. But yeah, I think it's difficult to tell, isn't it? No one saw Trump being elected. No one saw, well, I say no one, as in, the mainstream media certainly didn't think he was. And certainly for Brexit, people thought that we would remain. So it's a year of surprises.
Certainly so. And
Yeah, a couple of years of surprises. Jeez.
Checking in with the chat, Anthony says, what a load of tripe. Kabim says, people voted for Brexit, and the next day everyone Googled, what's Brexit? That's a good point. US Ganami says, EU is an evil clutching monster. The voters spoke. Michael Scott says, tripe is good in a bear market as it's cheap. Cheap to buy and good for you. From Eddie wants to leave the EU. Anthony says, the left hates democracy when the people vote against globalism. That may be, but this in the short term, and certainly in a lot of the trade characteristics and so on and so forth, this deal will hurt the people. This deal will hurt the people of the UK who won't be able to access this common market and all of the benefits that the EU has. We'll have to see how it turns out, but we might agree to disagree there. He says, a joint specialist says libertarians and their magic scissors. David says the euro is going to split up in 2019 and crash, but it'll be a big boost to Bitcoin. That would be a surprise, but we've had a lot of surprises lately. Tax is theft. I've heard that. And Sheffield says, I think she'll survive the vote this evening. Her Tory critics will decide keeping her as the lesser of two evils. That's a good point. It will certainly mess things up more if they remove her, but I think that they're just angry that they aren't getting the hard Brexit that they want, and that she's sort of drifted to the middle as this idea gets worse and worse. But we'll have to see how that turns out. They say euro crash, then the yen, then everything else before the dollar crashes last. With each crash, Bitcoin will rise. What do you think about that, Dan? If all these currencies crash, good for Bitcoin?
Yeah, I think it's if the currencies crash, it's good for Bitcoin, and well, I think that at the moment we're on the precipice of a proper crash. I mean, the European banks are down, or at least a number of them are. What is it? Facebook and Twitter and Apple are down from all-time highs. So it does seem like it's coming. That's for sure.
It definitely is. And like we've said in the past, previously, crashes or downturns were good for Bitcoin. We might have had a problem recently where people lost faith in the stock market and they lost faith in Bitcoin at the same time, and they just took their money out of all of them. So they were risk off. They were removing their money from the craps table that is the stock market with the Bitcoin edition. So that might have caused the price to go down. People selling to fight the BCH hash war, that might have caused the price to go down. Or it could have been the traders and their triangles that we broke through the triangle. So we have to go into a lower triangle before we come back in a later triangle, because you guys know it, short-term bearish, long-term bullish. And it's going to rain tomorrow, except if it doesn't. All right. You can always Skype us now at World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. I think we'll just recap the original stories today. We're talking about memes, why Bitcoiners are turning to memes during the great crash to survive. Dan, why are people turning to memes? What do you think? Well, Bitcoin price has gone down. We're all into memes.
It's an escape, isn't it? People want to laugh when things are going wrong, and you don't want to be kind of trapped in that mode of just checking Twitter, seeing all the bad news and people moaning. You want to see kind of funny videos of people with their bags being blown up and stuff like that.
Well, at this point, we've just lost so much. I mean, when it went from 6 to 3, it was like, okay, everyone just kind of lost everything else at that point. They're like, oh, yeah, I was really holding on at 6, but then 3 was just the end of it. Because, 6, you've already seen 9 and 12, 15 and 18 fall. So you've seen all these falls. What else can you do but focus on the memes, focus on the hodl? Let's see. I had another story we're going to cover. I didn't get to it yet, but let me see if I can pull that up. It was on Twitter. It's in the Mad Bitcoins Twitter. There's started to be a little bit of blowback to this idea of January 3rd, withdraw all your money from exchanges days. As Luke Dash Jr. says, my mind is not made up, but I think I will oppose Proof of Keys Day. Definitely do keep your own keys and avoid shared wallets, but a single day temporary bank run is mostly useless and bloats the blockchain for no real reason. What do you think, Dan? Should people? It's been proposed by Trace Mayer that everyone should withdraw all of their funds from exchanges on January 3rd, the birthday of Bitcoin. Put them into your Trezors, your ledgers, your paper wallets, somewhere safe and offline where you can hold your own keys. I think part of it is noble. Everyone should hold your own keys. Holding your own money is what sets Bitcoin apart. Part of it is a little business where he kind of wants to check if these exchanges have been selling more Bitcoin than they actually have, which will be tested if everyone starts withdrawing their money. but it does have an element of risk in it. What if these people's cold storage is not ready? What if they withdraw to the wrong place or somehow screw it up? What do you think, Dan, about proof of keys day?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, it does bloat the blockchain for kind of unnecessary transactions, but and also if people aren't prepared, they don't really know how to store their private keys safely. If they kind of do it in a rush because they're trying to get it done before the end of January 3rd, that can definitely cause problems. So, I mean, if you are going to get involved, then only do it, I think, if you really know how to store your private keys and that it's done safely, because you could have issues.
And for me, the proof is enough. If you can do $100 to your private keys, that's fine. You don't have to transfer your entire life savings just because a lot of other people are doing it or they're kind of joining in. They're all like, "Yeah, I'm all gonna do it. Yeah, let's all do it together. Yeah, oh." You don't have to just follow along. I see a lot of group activity here. I know libertarians are supposed to be independent and free, but a lot of the times it seems like they're just following the libertarian in front of them, and there's not a lot of independence or freedom in that. So certainly try out Proof of Keys Day. Send some of your Bitcoin off exchanges. Get a cold wallet. Know the difference between having your Bitcoin on an exchange and having your Bitcoin in a cold wallet. But don't feel the need to transfer around your entire life savings if you don't feel confident doing it. Don't feel that you have to give in to peer pressure. These are some cool people, and it's nice that they're uh, kind of helping you out. I don't know. They're it's kind of a good proposal. I'm on both sides of this because I just really think if even anybody loses their money in this thing, I don't know if it was a good idea. But then, of course, everyone's like, "Oh, the noobs deserve to lose their money." I mean, who cares if a noob? But we should take care of the noobs. We should have good holidays. I think putting $10 on a cold wallet and giving it to someone, that's a good idea. I think there's a lot of good ideas that are similar to this idea that might not be this idea. But even then, I don't think this is a bad idea. I'm not rooting against it. I'm not going to be, campaigning or anything. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think I like the principle behind it. I mean, yeah, obviously, Mt. Gox really pulled Bitcoin down in 2013. So it's important that these exchanges do have liquidity, and they're not just made of fluff. At the same time, it is going to impact on the blockchain. There's probably going to be a massive spike in transactions, and also obviously people run the risk of losing their private keys. So I'm now on the fence actually.
Well,
But
and again, it's
in
one. It's
principle,
a
it's great though.
Yeah, in principle, it's great. It's I think they're trying to do a good thing, and maybe even the same thing for that whole B Foundation thing. People are trying to do good things around here, but it's tough because there's unintended consequences. There's all these butterflies that go out, and I even thought at first that the emptying out of the exchanges might be an accidental butterfly. But now I've seen a lot more of Trace campaigning, and Trace is an investor in Kraken. That's publicly known. And I hope that Kraken has solid reserves because they'll be affected by this too if it becomes a big thing, if everyone withdraws their money. I think it's much more likely that it doesn't become a big thing and it's kind of a quiet thing. But it's kind of a nice tradition for Satoshi Day, for the Bitcoin birthday day. Although I like maybe a simpler tradition like backing up your hard drive. Like, let's all back up our hard drives on December 3rd, or let's all have different copies of things. I don't know. Backup copies are more important. But we were just going to check out Twitter, where we've been seeing some good Twitter memes, as they were saying. Here's a guy in the back of a casket on a truck, a flatbed truck. He gets out of the casket, fully dressed in an orange suit. Maybe that's the Bitcoin tie-in, and he proceeds to zombie walk and then dance. So I don't know why this video was done in the first place, but it's interesting to see it repurposed for a Bitcoin meme. I especially enjoyed this tweet from @CryptoModel. She says she's almost done getting ready for Christmas shopping this year. She spent all of her fiat on crypto, and that she's got a bunch of nice gift bags full of instant lunch or top ramen. With the styrofoam and everything. So that looks like good gifts for this year. Also found some great comic strips here. This poorly drawn lines at PDL Comics. They've got a little comic. It says "Time for Internet." The screen says "F you," and the guy says "Cool." And on a similar theme, it's from at the simple robot at the underscore simple robot. He writes in the comic strip, thanks to the miracle of the World Wide Web, I can talk to anyone around the globe. Gabe, hello world. Barfy man, kill yourself. Marvelous. So, yes, the internet can be good and bad. But we've got a crypto story here for Dan. Barry Silbert quotes the Alliance GI CEO who says crypto assets should be outlawed. He's talking about Bitcoin. He's talking about ICOs. He's talking about everything. He says, I am personally surprised that regulators haven't stepped in harder, saying that there is no intrinsic value in crypto assets, that they are watching this situation closely, and that the regulators will arrive. Dan, what do you think? Should crypto assets be outlawed?
Well, definitely not. I mean, I think that it kind of shows when one person's going against the grain. You know, even Jamie Dimon's kind of changed his tune on Bitcoin, and there's obviously a lot of interest now with the potential ETFs coming up. It just seems, you know, crazy, I think, for anyone to be kind of shouting against the grain when so many big things are happening and so many big companies are building big services and getting involved. I mean, the price may be down, but the fact is the infrastructure is just being, you know, smashed out in the background. So the more people shit on Bitcoin, the more silly they'll look in the long run.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate here and go to bat for the financial institutions. I think he's right. I think crypto assets should be outlawed. Bitcoin, all of them, ICOs, everything, because it's obviously going to destroy the financial industry. He's the head of one of Europe's largest asset managers, and he's calling for global regulators to ban crypto assets. He might be right. This is a canary in the coal mine, but like the US government said, it's basically too late. They said not that Ethereum wasn't a security. They kind of said that Ethereum was too big for them to govern as a security. So, in the same way, the crypto space, the crypto asset space, really the Bitcoin space, is too big, and it's too big to put back in the box. So, even if you wanted to put back in the box, you couldn't. It's the same thing as kind of like MP3s. You can't put the technology back in the box. The problem is out there. All you can do is adapt to the problem or be wiped out. Checking out some more Twitter action here as we continue to extend the show. Remember, you could always call us at Skype World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. I'm trying to copy and paste this into the thing, but I haven't had great luck with copy and paste in a while now. I think it's a shared clipboard issue with my shared computer screen or something, but just had some issues. I enjoyed this comment from Taylor Swift on security on Twitter. She says, Dear Spotify, please support enterprise caching. We'll spin up a server with a few 4 terabyte drives, whatever. We have them laying around. In exchange, we'll deploy your client to every desktop and encourage people to stop streaming 4K music videos on YouTube. Sound like a deal? It sounds very good. He was talking a lot recently about his work or her work. I don't want to spoil it, but Swift on security, her work in IT and IT security, saying that oftentimes people try to remove all of the programs, whereas his solution in the past has been to add programs, adding things like VLC so that people can watch their anime and they don't download a bunch of garbage programs, adding a managed version of Firefox and Chrome so that people can choose their own web browser so they don't download a bunch of garbage web browsers. Basic ideas about how to approach computer security, not with a heavy hand, but with an accepting and a user-based perspective. So I used to enjoy his tweets for the Taylor Swift memes. Now I'm just enjoying him for his comments on IT and security. We've got big news from @MDudis, who writes, This is very big news on retail crypto adoption. Samsung Mobile is reportedly going to include a crypto wallet, allowing for both cold storage and trading on their flagship Galaxy S10. We're talking tens of millions of devices here. The source is theblockcrypto.com, so I don't know about that. It has spread a little wider. It looks like this one goes to Sam Mobile, which is maybe a blog about Samsung. That's what I have to guess. But what do you think, Dan? Samsung offering a Bitcoin cold wallet app on their phones.
Well, it sounds great, doesn't it? Any time, well, kind of anytime where you hear a big company, especially worldwide, that's adopting something to do with Bitcoin, I kind of see that as good news because it's validating that Bitcoin's not a fraud and not a scam. So I think that's cool. I mean, I'd be interested to see how they do it. But yeah, overall, it's more sort of more reach for adoption.
Well, and certainly, Rivets had a presentation years ago that they could use a certain chip on a cell phone for a secure enclave. They could store the keys in that section of the phone. It would be separate from the rest of the phone. Of course, I'm not suggesting anyone put their life savings on a Samsung phone wallet, but it's a nice idea if you could carry around a couple of $100, maybe put some of them in a vault, some of them in a normal wallet for hot storage and for spending. Sounds pretty good. Sounds positive for Bitcoin. Certainly not negative than Bitcoin. And reminds me of when Apple used to ban all of the phone wallets on iPhone. We've come a long way since then. Samsung actually trying to build one in.
Well, the thing is with say using the Samsung wallet, when I use Bitcoin, I have a small amount which I keep in a small wallet, literally like a normal wallet that you take your cash out and you take it with you, and you only have like I don't know, maximum of £100, if that. Whereas you have your main stash in another place which is a lot more secure. So it would be bad if anyone used that wallet to put their life savings in. But at the same time, I think it's also quite useful just to have as a wallet for shifting around and using as a small wallet like you would have in your pocket.
And right now it only says Bitcoin, but they're also saying cryptocurrencies. So I'm sure many altcoins and so on and so forth will probably be included in this section. More about the banning of crypto. Also, we've got the latest from BTC King 555 on Twitter, who seems to have the inside scoop on the Bitmain IPO. Again, this is just a possible rumor from Twitter, but what he says is the latest from Hong Kong is that HKEX Group is requesting Bitmain to drop its Q3 results into prospectus. Jihan is pulling every trick in the book to avoid it, even having his bank, CICC, to bribe some regulators. But no luck. Continues to look bad for the Bitmain IPO, looking bad for the Bitmain company in general, as the karma of Bcash and splitting Bitcoin continue to come home. What do you think, Dan? Is it right? Is Bitmain attempting to hide information? Should they release their Q3 results, which are, of course, the quarter when they made the disastrous investment in Bitcoin Cash?
Sorry, I didn't get that because I got a phone call that cut out my headphones.
Dun dun
But
dun.
but um, I think if you're saying about what were you saying? Sorry,
I'm saying
I've
just
turned that
that
off now.
the Q3 numbers of Bitmain have not been provided. Should they provide the Q3 numbers? Is their IPO going well? What do you think?
Well, surely well, I don't know how the IPOs work because it's a Chinese-based IPO. So whether they need to submit everything to the kind of the auditors, but I think that the people who were buying in and have already bought in are probably going to want to see, a, a reasonable amount of their sort of internal information in order to make a proper decision. Because obviously, in the rest of the media, they're being slated right now for the way they've kind of worked recently, especially their involvement in the fork. So I think that they're going to have to be more transparent if they want to get their IPO off the ground and finished.
Yeah, I think it looks bad for Bitmain, which again will be bad for Bitcoin, even though we don't really like Bitmain and they may have sided against Bitcoin in the great block size debate. It's never a good thing that a large miner or a large Bitcoin company in general goes out of business. Crypto Dog reminds us to remember the last time that a massive sell off and price crash killed Bitcoin. He links us to a Coindesk article from January 13th, 2015, that says Bitcoin price crashes through the 250 mark. Just in case you just turned in now, this is from 2015. This is an old article. But we're checking out this old article which saw the price of Bitcoin fall from below $250. I think this was after the $1,200 run. So it was a full reset, an 85% drop all the way to 200. It did not go lower. I think it eventually recovered after the 200 drop. But it was a long time. It took 6 months, a year, 2 years. The bear market dragged on last time in 2015. And around this time, January of 2015, I was telling everyone, it's time to get jobs. It's time to get jobs. So if you had a job and you quit your job, if you need a new job, if you're looking to work in the industry, we should all be looking to work in the industry and getting jobs. What do you think, Dan? The 250 crash, good memories? Oh, he's
On me, it was tough times, that's for sure. So it hit everyone hard, and I hate to say the kind of cliche that this time things are different, but it's a different. Things have evolved now. I don't know whether the price justifies 10 times 10 times as much infrastructure as there was when it was worth 250, but yeah, it definitely hit people hard, and I learned a few lessons from it, that's for sure.
and it's unlikely that it'll go down this much as it went down last time, that it'll go to the same prices, and that's something we do see in those log charts. We see Bitcoin continuing to roll upward, despite these huge downturns. We also had some major news in the Canadian pot industry as Altria, the company used to be called Philip Morris, which makes Marlboro cigarettes in the United States, is getting into the marijuana market with a $1.8 billion stake in Kronos. So this is something people had long been waiting for. There were rumors for years and years and years that there would be Marlboro joints in stores. What do you think, Dan? The Philip Morris is finally into marijuana rumor is finally true.
But it's definitely one of the fastest growing industries of the last couple of years. It's been crazy, and to see a big company go into it, it's very interesting that they've gone in so soon, because there's still a lot of kind of stigma around smoking weed. I don't know if certainly in the UK, I can't see it being legalized for a while. Although recently they've just legalized CBT, whatever it is, for certain medical. The CBD for certain medical conditions. So I think that's a good step. But Marlboro getting in, I mean, that's huge.
It is, and this has been a long time coming. As they say in the article, people aren't buying cigarettes anymore, but people are buying marijuana. So this is a good mix for them. This is a good time to get out of one business and get into another. They're saying in the chat, Altria is the parent company of Philip Morris. I think they changed their name from Philip Morris to Altria, but we could check that out and get the details. We're checking out Dan's new Lemmings meme, your paid group leader. Oh, he's got an umbrella. And everyone else goes splat. So you should watch out for those paid groups where they say they're going to tell you how to predict the market, but only the leader seems to get away unscathed. Australia's got a horrible new anti-encryption legislation. Sounds like basically if you work in Australia, you're now required to install a backdoor in any encryption product that you may be making. Naturally, no one wants to work in Australia anymore. As the article says, Australia's new horrific encryption law is likely to obliterate its tech scene. So this is one of the good things about the connected world and one of the problems with the connected world. Say this was a different law, maybe a law worth doing, Australia would have no way to have this law because everyone will leave. Whereas right now we're seeing a bad law exposed to be a bad law with likely consequences for Australia. What do you think, Dan? Is it time to avoid Australia if they put backdoors in all their encryption, and if the engineers then have to compromise and put backdoors in?
Well, I've never been to Australia and I really want to go. But that news obviously is quite a blow to personal privacy, really. Knowing that there's a backdoor in services so that all your data can be viewed. I don't know what circumstances it operates under. I'd like to think that the only way they can get to the data, if this is the case, is by a strict legal process and a really strong need, evidential need, in order to extract whatever the data is that they're looking at someone's profile. But it's definitely a blow to freedom, and any blows to freedom aren't good.
And this is coming right after the news that New Zealand is upset about Bitcoin and that they were requiring people to allow searches of their laptop or to pay a $2,500 fine. So once again, personal freedom, privacy, these are being tested all over the world. But remember, it is a global and a worldwide situation. So you can move to another country where they do value freedom, where they do value privacy. So as it is, people are becoming more fluid. Connections to past tribalism is starting to be disconnected, as it means more to be somewhere that has good encryption than it means to be an Australian. It's interesting to see these things work themselves out. The Coin Census Town Hall shows that the staff is shaken at Ethereum's largest startup. As CoinDesk said recently, Coin Census laid off 13% of their employees as they're having a rough time and they've lost runway. Previously, they said that their runway was counted in years. Now their runway is being counted in months. What I thought the most interesting part of this article is that CoinDesk did actual journalism, which means that they upset CoinCensus. I'm trying to find the right part of the article. Let's see, it is, I think they called it CD. Here it is. They're upset because CoinDesk went to this CoinCensus town hall video, watched it, read the transcripts, and wrote an article based on that. CoinCensus, although those communications were public, they're calling them internal communications. As a CoinCensus spokesman said, "We are not commenting on internal conversations. Quite frankly, these tactics are beneath you and the role CoinDesk plays in the ecosystem as a source of veridical information." I thought that was vertical, but no, veridical, which probably means truth, truthful, coinciding with reality, veridical. That's a first one, new word. So yes, these tactics are bad. CoinDesk is investigating consensus. What do you think, Dan? They had a public meeting. Seems pretty easy to have a article about a public meeting. That's tough for them to fight. Are they in trouble though? Having less runway, not seeing this coming, not having a better risk strategy.
Well, I mean, I think that we're seeing quite a culling across the board of projects that kind of didn't and companies that didn't hedge properly. You'd think it would be a bit more, a company like Consensus, so they would be a bit more kind of proactive. But then I've been surprised about other companies and projects that have folded. So it just seems like I think everyone, me included, got caught up in the crazy price of Bitcoin and everything else, and didn't really think about the consequences of not managing their risk and hedging their bets properly.
Well, and I think it's fine, or well, not fine, but it's okay that normal traders like you and me, non-professionals, got wiped out, didn't do the right thing, panicked, whatever it was. We screwed it up, right? But for these professionals with these companies, you raise $100 million, you should give your customers, the people who bought your ICO, $100 million worth of product. Whether that's office space or hiring people or going to conferences, whatever you're going to burn that money on, you should burn it in service of your company. But it sounds like by overholding and by not having a good strategy, they burn their customers' money for no reason and no gain. So it looks pretty bad to them. There's more and more of these Ethereum ICOs and other ICOs where they raised a ridiculous amount of money, and it's kind of like that Simpsons episode. He says, it's like a mule with a spinning wheel. He doesn't know how he got it, and he doesn't know what he's using it for. So that's a town with money from the monorail episode. But I think we're going to see more of these coming forward. And definitely, I'm on CoinDesk's side here. You've got to report on a public meeting. Consensus, you can't have public town halls and then call them internal communications. It's great to be transparent and to answer important questions from your customers and from your investors or fans in the audience. asking you how many months of runway you have left, if they can forfeit their jobs to other people, and so on and so forth. But you can't have it both ways. You can't have it public and have it private. See what else we've got going on. So we talked about Luke Dash Jr. kind of exposing proof of keys at the very least. We should try it out. Maybe put $100 on a private wallet. That's a good goal for that day. I just want to highlight this quote from @Bitcoinization on Twitter, DC. He writes, "The top 25 cryptocurrencies 5 years ago." And get ready for this, because I recognize most of these. You guys probably aren't going to recognize any of these except maybe the top two or three. Here we go. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Peercoin, Namecoin, Megacoin, Feathercoin, WorldCoin, PrimeCoin, NovaCoin, FreeCoin, BarbecueCoin, ZetaCoin, InfiniteCoin, TerraCoin, Cryogenic Bullion, AnonCoin, DevCoin, YaCoin, DigitalCoin, GoldCoin, Tickets, Stablecoin, Copperlark, IXCoin, and FastCoin. So it's worth noting there were many cryptocurrencies before you got here. All of them failed except Bitcoin, Litecoin. Peercoin's hanging on a little bit. Namecoin had a huge fall. Namecoin was an interesting one, designed by Satoshi himself, meant to be useful, registering domain names. Never could really get past the Sybil problems or the other problems. Eventually, it was merge mined with Bitcoin. I'm not sure it's even running anymore. For a while there, the exchanges would give you Namecoin for free because they got it for free. It was pretty cool. So Namecoin could be a good project in the future, but right now, not so much. Megacoin, that was a classic one. I once got a $1,000 donation in Megacoin, which is quite a big donation for me. And to show respect to my donors, I always tried to hold my crazy altcoin donations, which maybe long term would have worked, but short term sure didn't. And my 1,000 turned into 300, and later on it was cashed out for rent or whatever. But Feathercoin, of course, my friend Chris Ellis, community managed them for a long time and helped promote Feathercoin, a British coin, a copy of Litecoin with even more units. WorldCoin was a pretty popular day, said to be global. PrimeCoin actually still around. Oh, it got bigger. That's nice. PrimeCoin's still around. Interesting way of determining their proof of work using prime numbers. Actually, an interesting scientific coin amongst all these coins with different names and different wallets. NovaCoin, FreeCoin, BarbecueCoin. Here's one worth talking about. A restaurant in Kansas City, I want to say, that's a guess, created their own coin, a direct copy of Bitcoin called Barbecue Coin. I think they ran 1 or 2 computers to mine it for themselves, and they would accept it in their restaurant for barbecue. One of the very first altcoins traded for food. Interesting coin, good old barbecue coin, which of course led people to believe it was valuable. Then they pumped it, then they dumped it, then they pumped it, then they dumped it. All of the time, the person who invented barbecue coin is just sitting there wondering what the heck is going on. A bunch of these I don't have much to say about. Zeta, Infinite, Terra, Cryogenic Bullion, never heard of that one. Anon coin. Of course, see, we have some early coins here trying to get on the idea of anonymous coin, which later came out with the Dash Monero group of coins there. Zcash. DevCoin, another interesting idea, was going to pay you for doing development or pay you for reading or improving development documents. DevCoin was supposed to go back to the users. It was kind of like an early version of Steam or Steemit. YaCoin, Digital Coin, Gold Coin, Tickets. I don't know any of these. Stablecoin. A nice reminder that we did have at least a coin called Stablecoin back in the day. I don't know if it was actually stable, but it's a nice idea. Copperlark, IX coin. I think that's like 9 coin, like 1 before 10 or something. And of course, Fast coin, which, as Dan knows from Malta and the brand new Fast token, is faster because that's the way it's supposed to be.
Well, if it says it, then it definitely is, right?
If it says it must be faster. He's also got some of the prices. A lot of pain in these price markets, as Litecoin $23, that's pretty good. Peercoin 56 cents, that's really low. Namecoin 50 cents. Namecoin used to be $5, as well as Peercoin. Megacoin, look at that, 0.003. Feathercoin 0.017. I swear Feathercoin used to be a quarter at one point. WorldCoin used to be several dollars. Now it's 0.00. Oh, it got bigger. 0.0041 for a mega coin. 17 cents for a prime coin. 51 cents for a nova coin. 0.0036 for a free coin. Barbecue coin, it just says lol. And Zeta coin 0.001. He says the only shit coins worth more than that 5 years ago are the ones that didn't exist. So you can look at some of these old prices. He's got a chart here. Peercoin was $6. Namecoin was 10. Megacoin was 2. Feather was $1.25. WorldCoin 72 cents. Primecoin $6. Novacoin $24. Novacoin. You can't even remember it anymore, but it was $24. Frey coin 36 cents. Barbecue coin 30 cents. Amazing. And Zeta coin looks like 5 cents. But great tweet from DC. Good stuff. Just to remember the past. There were other cryptocurrencies that came before you. You just don't remember them. Interesting story from Business Insider saying that Bloomberg News pays their reporters more if their stories move the markets. So you wonder why we have so many sensational headlines and financial journalism. You think it would be a serious place for serious people, but it turns out if you put good clickbait in your headlines, traders only read the headlines. So if you say bad news for Apple, Apple heading down, they go to their trade engines and start selling rather than read the entire article. So Bloomberg actually credits and rewards their journalists for stories that move the market. What do you think, Dan?
I think it's kind of crazy if that definitely is the case, because Elon Musk recently got slapped by the SEC and his tweets need to be checked before he goes out. Yet a newspaper, because they're independent, or say a newspaper, a news outlet, they kind of can print almost, well, I say almost what they want. But this is obviously I think something that the SEC should be picking up on. It's the same thing that Elon Musk is doing, which is printing tweeting something that's going to try and move markets, or could move markets. Sorry. So should newspapers and news outlets be held to the same kind of accountability? I think they possibly should.
And a former Bloomberg News employee spoke on the condition of anonymity, said anyone who moves the markets gets a bonus. Your team gets awards. If you don't move the market, it's like there's something wrong with you. You don't get a full bonus. And we had a similar story in cryptocurrency recently where a lot of the mainstream cryptocurrency publications were publishing sponsored content. Now, there's nothing wrong with publishing sponsored content as long as you label it, as long as you inform people that you accepted money for this content. But they weren't doing that. They said to all their people, if you pay more, we'll take the sponsored content tag off of this sponsored content. Now you have people reading information about ICOs and investments, actual actionable pieces of information, thinking that it's an impartial article from the website like Cointelegraph, allegedly. And they'll end up going and investing in the coin based upon sponsored and paid information. What do you think, Dan? Is it just all the industries, all the journalists are like this, or just crypto and the financial?
Well, I don't think it's just it's just crypto that they're going after, because I know that there's a bit of a push to go after normal YouTube influencers, and I've been reading a lot lately. Prior to the is it DJ Khaled and Floyd Mayweather that got sort of slapped on the wrist by the SEC for promoting without kind of full disclosure. So it is happening in the real world, and these Instagrammers, tweeters that are promoting products, and YouTubers without letting people know that it's an advert, they are being sought after. And I think with crypto, it's kind of being linked to the stock market, analogous to the stock market, and people tweeting about buy or sell that this particular currency, and that could move the price. And if they're being paid to do that by whoever, then that's not a good it's not a good position to be in. I don't think it's good for the industry, that's for sure.
Definitely not. We're keeping an eye on Twitter here. There's a great tweet by Bitstamp. Did you know Hierarchical deterministic wallets are a type of crypto wallet that can create multiple addresses linked to a single private key. HD wallets allow you to use a unique address for each transaction, all tied to a single wallet. And they made a really nice looking graphic that helps explain it. You can see the key going into the wallet and the wallet generating many different mailboxes where your Bitcoin can go to. So excellent work from Bitstamp. We talked about the memes. We talked about the crashes. As always, you can join the Mad Bitcoins Patreon at patreon.com/madbitcoins. Only 11 people have seen my behind the scenes video. You could join them. You could be one of the 11. And you can donate now to Tallycoin at tallyco.in or with the QR code on your screen or the Bitcoin address below. We're almost going to break $300 towards our goal of $2,000. We're 14.81% of our way there. Dan, anything to promote or plug as we near the end of the show?
Not really. Just check out Crypto Raptor if you're down and want some comedy crypto raps or songs. New one's coming out soon. I'm in the process of writing some stuff. But yeah, that's good for me.
All right. And thanks to everyone for joining us. We'll be back again probably tomorrow, maybe the next day. We'll see. But keep hanging out, keep doing those Bitcoins, giving us those thumbs up and the share, and subscribe down below to the World Crypto Network. Until next time, bye bye.
Ciao, ciao.